Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hello Word. I'm your host, Alex, and I'm thrilled to have you join me today as we explore another fascinating English word. Our word of the day is cry. What does cry mean? Well, simply put, cry means to shed tears, usually as an expression of sadness, pain, or strong emotion. It can also mean to shout or call out loudly. So, cry has two main meanings, shedding tears and shouting. Now, let's delve a little deeper into the definition. When we cry because we're sad, we produce tears from our eyes. This is a natural human reaction to emotional pain or distress. For example, a baby might cry when they are hungry or need attention. An adult might cry when they are grieving the loss of a loved one. The other meaning of cry, to shout, is less common in everyday conversation but still important to understand. Imagine someone in danger might cry for help. Now that we understand the basic definition, let's explore some synonyms for cry. Synonyms are words that have similar meanings. One synonym for cry, when it means shedding tears, is weep. For example, she began to weep softly as she watched the movie. Another synonym is sob. He couldn't stop himself from sobbing after hearing the bad news. A further synonym, implying a more subdued form of crying, is whimper. An example is, the puppy whimpered when left alone. If we consider the second definition of cry, meaning to shout, a synonym would be yell. You can say he yelled at the top of his lungs. Another synonym for shouting is scream. For example, she screamed when she saw the spider. Now, let's look at antonyms. Antonyms are words that have opposite meanings. An antonym for cry, when it means to shed tears, would be laugh. For example, instead of crying, they began to laugh hysterically. Another antonym could be smile. She tried to smile even though she felt like crying. When cry means to shout, antonyms could include whisper. You could say he whispered a secret in my ear. Another antonym is mutter. She muttered to herself under her breath. Let's think about how we use cry in everyday life. We often say things like don't cry over spilled milk, which means don't get upset about something that can't be changed. We also hear expressions like a far cry from, which means something is very different from something else. For example, this hotel is a far cry from the luxurious resort we stayed at last year. You might hear someone say, I felt like I could cry, meaning they felt extremely sad or overwhelmed. Now, let's look at some example sentences using the word cry. The baby started to cry loudly in the middle of the night. She couldn't help but cry during the sad movie. He wanted to cry out for help, but he was too scared. The little girl began to cry when she lost her balloon. They all began to cry tears of joy at the wedding. He heard a cry in the darkness. Don't cry. Everything will be all right. It's okay to cry when you're feeling sad. Did you cry when you watched that film? The injured animal let out a cry of pain. Here are a few more phrases. Cry your eyes out, which means to cry for a long time and very intensely. Cry wolf, which means to give a false alarm. A cry for help, indicating someone needs assistance. Another example sentence is, the new policy is a far cry from what they promised. So, to recap, cry primarily means to shed tears as an expression of emotion or to shout loudly. We explored synonyms like weep, sob, yell, and scream, and antonyms like laugh, smile, whisper, and mutter. We also looked at everyday expressions and example sentences to help you understand how to use cry effectively. Thank you for joining me on Hello Word today. I hope you found this episode helpful. Remember to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. Please also leave a review. Your support helps others discover the show. Now for your challenge. Create your own sentence using the word cry and share it in the comments below the video. I can't wait to see what you come up with.